that would explain it. Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. Greetings and welcome to my Sunday evening live stream. This is Pride Comes Before Destruction Part 2. In the midweek, Wednesday or Thursday actually, I believe it was, I did the first part of this live stream, which we're going to play in a minute. It goes on for an hour, and then I'll be back with you at 10:30 p.m. I will, I will say at this point, actually, I am suffering a little bit this evening. My right ear is in absolute agony. I do have problems with my hearing as it is. I'm not going to complain too much, but yeah, it's putting me all over the place, feel a bit disorientated. Hopefully by the time 10:30 p.m. comes around, it will have cleared up, got better. But otherwise, I'll just have to see how we get on. If anyone is watching, I hope you can say hello in the live chat. And so yeah, the first hour of this will be pre-recorded. Huge thanks to everyone who joined in. And then when we come back, like I said, we'll be having another look at some of the Pride situation and why these people maybe shouldn't be as proud. And then we've also got a few other things. One thing I do wish to look at, I was given some information about the NHS. I mean, public information, it's all out there. But when I heard it, I was absolutely shocked, horrified. And I'm going to share that with you. I mean, the question is, if we really think the NHS, National Health Service here in the UK, has got people's best interests at heart, wait till you read this. You'll be shocked. Well, I was certainly shocked, horrified. Okay, so as I say, please bear with me if I seem a little out of sorts. I'm not 100% tonight. It's just me, my right ear. Hopefully it'll be better by the time this rerun finishes. I hope you guys enjoy it. Maria Ellender, greetings. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing all right. And I hope you can make it through till 10:30 p.m. where we start the live stream properly. In the meantime, I'm going to play part one of my video that I'm doing. I'm going to mute myself. Thanks for joining us, Maria. Actually, Maria tipped me off to some really interesting information about the NHS, which I'm going to share later. So, huge thanks to yourself. Alright guys, I'll be back in an hour. First of all, I'd like to say greetings to Phil Wright and Andrew Legit, who have both commented so far earlier on. Phil says that's the agenda for they don't want people having kids. And Andrew says the earth is a round. To know the truth, you have to turn things upside down. 999 is 666. 911 is Revelation 9:11. Yeah, interesting stuff. The numbers are always apparent, that is for sure. Can't argue with that one. First of all, I'd like to extend my greetings after saying hello to Phil and Andrew, to Maria Ellender. Finished work early so she can join in. That's always great. Always love to. Pleased to hear Maria can join in. As Mudlark Digging Up the Thames, another long-time subscriber of mine who often makes it to the live streams. Mudlark Digging Up the Thames asks, do you still do live streams? I haven't done one for a while, actually. I think we did 5. I think the next one will be quiz night 6. I've got to have some. They take a bit of prepping. Getting some questions up together. I will do one. Generally they were Sunday evenings, but then no reason why I couldn't do one on a different night of the week, different time of the day. Maybe a midweek quiz. Yeah, I'm certainly not going to rule out doing another quiz soon, Mudlark. Mudlark says he's never actually mudlarked. I don't know what mudlarking means. I assumed it was I thought a mudlark was a bird, but shows my knowledge on that sort of thing. Maria says, my colleagues go mudlarking. I'm amazed at her finds at the Thames shoreline. Oh, I see. Mudlarking is where you dig stuff up. That would make sense, what of the name Mudlark Digging Up the Thames. Interesting. I imagine it's similar to metal detecting, where you go around on the beach. Alice Wild, greetings and welcome to the live stream. Glad you can make it. Do you know what? I had a couple of interesting occurrences happen to me yesterday. I was in Devizes, which is a market town in Wiltshire, not far from where I live. First thing happened, I was in the Wetherspoons using their toilet. And as I walked out, this young woman nearly bumped into me coming in the door. And I thought, that's a bit odd, isn't it? Why has she gone into the wrong toilets? She hadn't gone into the wrong toilets. I do believe that this week being, is it National Pride Week or something, or when all those with a, what would you call it, adventurous sexual appetite want to go out and tell the world how proud they are that anything goes, basically. And among anything going, they can now walk into any toilet they like. Crazy. I mean, it led me to ask the question, why would a woman even want to use a men's toilet? There are practical reasons. I'm guessing, I can honestly say I've rarely gone into any women's toilets. But I'm assuming they're cleaner. Maybe that's a baseless generalisation. Perhaps they're just as grimy as men's toilets. But men's toilets are always wet on the floor. You know, I can't see why a woman would realistically want to. If I had the choice of using the gents or the females based on the condition of the toilets alone, I think I would be aiming for the females because I assume that they're cleaner. Anyway, also, if you're a woman and you need to use the toilet, due to the biology, surely having more like proper sit-down toilets is more practical. I am aware of in fact I made a video, and it kind of ties in with what this video is going to be about today. I made a video on the programme Emmerdale Farm and how they were pushing a very dangerous, very painful practice which for some reason goes by the name of what's the word? My mind goes, whenever I'm doing this live stream, my mind goes blank. Gender transition and gender reassignment, that's the one. If it was Africans doing the treatment, they would call it genital mutilation. But as it's done in this country and it's seen to go along with a particular gender, which seems to be in vogue at the moment, they're calling it gender reassignment. Mudlark says, was it a man in drag? To begin with, I did wonder. I wasn't sure, but no, I'm 99% sure it was a female. They were very short. They had a high-pitched voice when they apologised for nearly walking into me as I was coming out the toilet. And I thought, what on earth are they playing at? They did have, I don't know if you've noticed this week actually, lots of people have brightly coloured hair. And that, I believe, is a way, I think that's what they do for these pride marches. They, I think if you see anyone, not anyone I suppose, but you're more likely nowadays to see people with brightly coloured hair. At the moment, this week, and I think that ties in with people doing, basically going on marches, proclaiming their pride at the fact that they have a perverted, that's not fair, that isn't fair to say perverted, because in this day and age, anything goes. They're proud to say anything goes. If you want to do it, just do it. If it feels good, get on with it. What are you waiting for? I was interested to see a story, I'll just catch up with the live chat a minute. Mudlight says, scavenging for items of worth on the riverbanks. Okay, it sounds like a pretty good way as any to spend your time actually, and if you find anything of value, why not, hey? Emmerdale Farm, as I said, they once did a story, well they're in the middle of doing the story, they haven't touched upon it recently, but about a female who is transitioning to a male. They've had the top half surgery, and the story basically sent the message that they were unhappy about the having to wait so long for the bottom half surgery. Alice says, are you sure you weren't asleep when this was happening? 1,000,000% a woman was walking into the gents' toilets in the Devizes. No, was it Devizes? I'm talking rubbish. Oh, hang on. Yeah, no, it was Trowbridge. Sorry, Trowbridge. This was a couple of days back. Devizes, that was yesterday. That was a different thing happened, but not in Wetherspoons. A couple of days back, it happened 1,000,000%. It was a woman. She nearly bumped into me and I was going out of the toilets in Wetherspoons. Anyway, devices. I was walking along the street, unrelated now, and I walked past what I after realised was their Vaseline centre, should we say. And they were offering, and this guy came up to me completely masked up. He had aprons on, he had rubber gloves on. He gave me a good distance. He said, "Excuse me, sir, have you had your inoculations?" And this was just on the street, me just walking past, probably about 6 p.m. And I said, "Oh no, I haven't had anything like that." And he said, "Would you like them?" And he was polite. I wasn't going to, I did consider, I've always said, if anyone ever asks me if I've had the Vaseline, I would ask them a personal question about their medical background, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I just said no thank you and walked on. But it comes to something. You imagine any other situation where someone approaches you on the street and offers you drugs or medical treatment, they would get locked up, certainly be frowned upon. And yet this guy outside the inoculation centre was, I'm guessing they had some extra doses. Perhaps they get paid for every person they manage to stick. But I've never seen that before. I've never had someone just come up to me and ask me if I want one. That's new though. And also I heard about a bus that went round to Bath, driving around Bath, offering, and if you want it, just queue up at this bus and corrupt your flesh possibly. Right, reading the live chat, Maria says, when a person has a limb amputated, they can suffer phantom limb pains for months following the surgery. When a male amputates his penis, he still experiences erections. Nasty. Yeah, I have heard that about the phantom pains in limbs that have been removed. Did I mention a couple of weeks back, a friend of mine, well, he died very recently, very suddenly. He had some brain tumours, and he said he was after having, it was either caused by some medication or they gave him medication to treat it, but he felt like there were bugs under his skin, and it's a very similar reason for why people can still feel their limbs after they've had them cut off. But yeah, erections after having that could only be nasty. Random Games, greetings. I'm glad you could join us today. Yet, Random Games are always happy to receive messages and videos from you on Twitter. I will certainly check them out. Mudlight says, I'm still constantly getting text messages and letters from the NHS to get the V. It's harassment. I received one just today, actually, literally a few minutes before starting. And let me read it. NHS vaccine. If you haven't already booked your first dose of the free NHS vaccine, you can book online or by calling 199, 119, whatever. Choose a time and a place that suits you. They do not want to accept that some people just want to trust their God-given immune system. We were all given the ability to fight off bugs. In fact, I saw an interesting video. I'm gonna search it out in a minute. The problem is that the audio won't be very good because we have to listen to it through my speakers because for some reason I can't. Dean Jones, greetings. Thanks for joining us. Glad you could make it. We will be looking at a couple of stories in a minute. I do want to start by looking at this particular video. Actually, yeah, I've got a few things to cover. I mean, calling this live stream "Pride Comes Before Destruction," which is a lot of people misquote it or paraphrase it and say "Pride comes before a fall." Actually, the correct Proverbs from Proverbs 16:18, I believe, is "Pride comes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall." Mudlight, you received the exact same text message. Now, I'm curious whether they're sending that out to everyone or if they know those of us that have had it and who haven't had it. I should really ask. I know enough people that have had it and don't know whether they're still receiving text messages. I haven't received those blue letters. I mean, the last few that I have received, I haven't had one recently. I generally rip up and throw in the bin. I don't even bother reading it. And bear in mind, that is our taxpayers' money that's being spent on those letters. Absolutely ridiculous. This whole thing, right, I don't want to get too stuck down on the the Vaseline today. We talked about that a lot last time. Actually, I did do an open line session. We had Michelle from Oz came on and shared a lot of her thoughts and views. Some of what Michelle talks about, I'm sure many of you watching probably wouldn't be in 100% agreement with. Likewise, I don't agree with everything Michelle says, but I appreciate that she comes on. I ask people, I say, come on, share your views, share your thoughts, and she does it. So I'm not going to shout her down when she comes on and starts telling me. She was talking about how measles or German measles can affect the pregnant women, and I don't know the situation on that. My instinct would be that if the official narrative is that when babies are born with serious mental handicaps, if it's being blamed on measles, I would probably say they're blamed. Who knows? Because generally, when you see things like autism, serious disabilities, my instinct these days is to think, well, I wonder what treatment they were given whilst during their pregnancy, or when the baby was very young. Right, I am going to show us a video. Crazy, just one little clip I want to listen to. I want you guys to hear. This is from the YouTube channel James Ellie. I'm going to share my screen now. This is the James Ellie. Right, just going back to the live stream. Alice Wild says, Bobby, would you consider doing the Sunday live stream at this time as well? It's not impossible. The only thing with that is that I've kind of tried to get, maybe, Alice, I would not rule it out. It could come a point where perhaps I would do it early. I tell you what, if there's, I do like to try these live streams at different times and different days, so possibly, yeah. Maybe if I do a quiz in the week, then yeah, maybe actually that would work. Sundays are a day where I'm generally free, so yeah, I reckon I probably could do a earlier live stream on a Sunday. Mudlight says, gets loads of blue envelopes, just throws them away. Maria Ellender says, I wonder whether the government emergency alert worked in real time for Elephant and Castle explosion a couple of days ago. Do you know what? I did not hear about the Elephant and Castle. That is a new one on me. The only thing I wanted to play very quickly is this video. Unfortunately, the audio will not sound particularly good. Right, James Ellie, I am going to leave a link to this guy's YouTube channel. I always find stuff on here that I think, oh yeah, I would love, I could share that in my live stream. Wacky stuff. Bear with us, all right? I am just going to very quickly put a link to this video in the live chat if anyone wants to check it out themselves and subscribe. Where are we? Okay, here we are. This is a news story. Okay, there is a particular part that I want to play. This is the Andrew Mars show, and all right, well, just listen to what he's saying, and I'll stop it at the key point.
Self-indulgence, Peter, to ask you about me, because I got coronavirus last week. I'd been double jabbed earlier in the spring and felt, if not king of the world, at least almost entirely immune, and yet I got it. Was I just unlucky?
Were you unlucky?
Was he just unlucky? We'll find out in a minute, because this guy says something very interesting in about the next 30 seconds.
I think you were. I mean, what we know with the vaccines is that they are actually remarkably effective at preventing.
How do you know that? I mean, how can you possibly say that? Anyway, let's carry on. Because judging by, I remember someone left a comment once saying they were doing a comparison between those they knew had it and those that didn't to see how healthy they were, and they listed a whole load of things for those that had it. Those that hadn't had it, he said, were all perfectly healthy. I'm, of course, in the latter camp, and I consider myself perfectly healthy. Anyway, let's carry on.
Hospitalizations and deaths, they are less effective at preventing infection. So, although you were sick, you weren't hospitalized, and, there wasn't any fatality. And that's probably because of the vaccination. I think it's really important for people to realize that as we increase the vaccination rates and most older people are vaccinated, we will see breakthrough infections, and we'll start to see that actually, in the end, the majority of infections are in people who've been vaccinated.
What? What did he just say? Run that past me again, whoever this person is.
Actually, in the end, the majority of infections are in people who've been vaccinated.
Now that doesn't sound right to me. I hope you can hear the audio properly. The majority of people that will end up getting ill from this. Anyway, I don't want to get too dragged down. This is it now. The only one thing I will say, I will go on to, actually, the last midweek stream I did, we talked about an email that had supposedly been leaked. And some people probably rightly said that email is fake news. Phil Wright, greetings, welcome to the live stream. The one thing that email did say, and I mean, this is maybe kind of predictable. It doesn't mean, you may not want to read too much into this, but it said that football and events like football and summer holidays would be blamed for an increase in cases. And then 20 hours ago, this story broke. Football linked to 2,000 Scottish cases. Nearly 2,000 cases in Scotland have been linked to people watching the Euro 2020 football matches. Public Health Scotland said 2/3. I like their that number there, how they make it that sort of reversible number. Public Health Scotland said 2/3 of the 1991 cases were people who travelled to London for Scotland's game with England. This included 397 fans who were inside Wembley for the match. A relatively small number of cases reported attended the fan zone in Glasgow. So here we are, they're already blaming football and these events for basically, I'm not sure if they're claiming that it increased the numbers or what, but actually they do come up with their favourite number, 32. The country's national clinical professor, James Leach, said that he was disappointed that 2,000 of the 32,000 cases recorded in Scotland since the 11th of July had been linked to the Euro 2020 event. This could have been written perfectly. I wonder if this will be a reason why they say, no, we can't possibly go back to normal life. Mudlark says they're going to make up new variants and new cases, nonsense forever. Of course they are. Obrecht 1991, of course. It's, yeah, they always give themselves away with their numbers. By the way, greetings, Obrecht. Welcome to the live stream. Glad you could make it. So yeah, here's depending on how we look at that email, that it was shared by Maria Ellender. Is she with us today? I believe she's popped up once. Yeah, she popped in earlier. I personally was sceptical of that email, and I said I really hope it's wrong, and that likewise I really hope it's wrong. That email was correct. I mean, that report about the email was correct to say that they would be blaming football events for an upturn in numbers. Right, one last thing about the Vaseline, because I do want to look at, someone said about an explosion in Elephant and Castle. I hadn't heard about that, so we will check that out in a minute. This I wanted to look at on Sunday evening. I didn't get time. Right, knock knock. This is in America, by the way. Have you had your Vaseline yet? California sends out thousands to check. And right now, thousands of people are knocking on the doors in order to get as many Californians Vaselined as possible. The state of California has kicked in $10 million, public money of course, to fund the effort, which is being led by Healthy Future California and the UCLA, which I'm guessing, I have no idea who that is, a university of so-and-so, in partnership with 70 community-based organisations. There are an estimated 2,000 people employed to make peer-to-peer appeals, basically peer pressure appeals, and provide support to help overcome barriers to vaccination. Do you remember what they used to tell you as a kid? Well, at school, don't be peer pressured into taking drugs. The same applies now, okay? Don't be peer pressured. Those door-to-door efforts are taking place in Alameda, Fresno, Kern, Los Angeles, Orange, they love their numbers, Riverside, blah, blah, blah. In California, 39% of residents are fully vaccinated, while another 12 are partially. That means that's a good number of those that aren't actually. 49% of California have not had it. Good for them. They've not succumbed to peer pressure. So how far is it going to go? People knocking on your door. Like I said, yesterday I had someone approach me on the street offering me it. And here in America, they're knocking on the door. There's a magic bus driving around Bath, parking up in like local places, offering people it. Insanity. Yeah, Maria Ellender says, just say no. absolutely agree. Mudlark, we're not supposed to meet people, but they can send civil servants out to knock on your door. Exactly. I think I'm pretty sure further on down it said something about how some of the receptions they get, people tell them to, people slam the door in their face, I think it said. The thing is, if you have made the decision, I don't want it. Not for me. You know, other people want to do it, good for them. Why would you want anyone to come to your door and try and change your mind? It's insane. Like I said, trust your God-given immune system over a pharmaceutical syndicate, a product produced by a pharmaceutical syndicate, which is absolutely rinsing the taxpayer of their money. Okay, that is it. Unless anyone has Mudlark, I wouldn't even open the door. Absolutely correct. Obrecht says, do I believe in germ theory? That is, obviously you're saying like, as opposed to terrain theory, where someone's got a cold or the flu and they walk and pass it on to another person. To be honest, I'm open to the possibility that that isn't how the majority of people get ill. I know people that get colds, they get bugs, and generally I'm lucky in that, well, I say I'm lucky. I've always considered myself lucky because I just don't catch them. I just don't. Wow, what a lovely sticker. By the way, I bet anyone taking part in the Pride marches are going to have the be wearing masks and everything. Right, so do I believe in germ theory, Obrecht? An earlier live stream, like a good few months ago, we did look at the I think it was a video by the YouTuber, oh, what's the guy's name? I can't remember, but he did a video talking about terrain theory, which is the opposing thought, where people say that it may not be, you know, you're not actually necessarily spreading bugs when you cough and sneeze. If you come down with a cold, it's your body excreting toxins. And that sounds perfectly viable. To be honest, Obrecht, I try to keep an open mind on everything. Yeah, I would be interested in anyone else's thoughts on that, germ theory versus terrain. Am I correct in calling it terrain theory? Alice Wild says, I haven't had any letters or calls. I don't know about phone calls. I've had texts and letters, like by the sackload, but Alice, I'm surprised you haven't. And Alice has shared her thoughts on germ theory. Thank you very much. If you think about it, the idea of germ theory is a very clever way of controlling people. But it's one of those, the realization that germ theory is wrong is, for a lot of people, myself included, leading us to, it's another one of those things that say everything we've ever believed, everything we were taught as we grew up is a lie. Do I believe in germ theory? Do you know what? Like Sunday night I was talking about when I had the mumps as a kid and meat and whatnot. I never passed it on to those in my family. No one else caught it off me. I don't know where I caught it from. So if I was to go only on my own experiences, I would say no, not at all. I don't seem to catch illnesses off of other people. When I do get ill, which is fortunately quite rare, one thing that would be guaranteed to bring me down ill, and that would be if I went out on the lash, as they say. I went out drinking. Within a couple of weeks of that, I could usually guarantee I would get a cold or some such thing. So, yeah, I think I agree with you on that one, Alice. Maria Ellender, Ephesians 6:12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. No, but against principalities. Right, I was going to look at Emmerdale. I'll be honest with you people, I do watch, well, I live in a household where where Emmerdale is watched. And there's a story at the moment going on. Do you know what? And they were collecting for Pride, because the village is doing a Pride story. Who do you think was going out raising money? It was, of course, the local village vicar. Here is the story. We did look at this on Sunday, but it's a story that they're doing now. Someone's stolen the Pride collection, and they kept referring to it as a charity. And I'm like, is that really now a charity? Is raising money so people can walk down the street and boast about their sexual preferences really a charity? It makes no sense to me. I mean, let's say someone is proud of the fact that they have a preference for dead bodies, okay? Are they going to go out and say, do you know what, I'm really proud of the fact that I got myself a job in the morgue, and every night when everyone else has gone home, I have a party? I mean, how sick and disgusting is that? But LGBTQX whatever, do you know what that stands for? Oh, where is it? What it actually stands for is anything goes. Lesbian, gay, bi. Okay, that's your three kind of well-known ones. Trans, that is those that like to dress up. Men like to dress as women like to dress as men, whatever. Some like to have vile surgery, in which, like I said earlier, if it was taking place in Africa, it would be known as genital mutilation, but because it's taking place in this country, it's called gender reassignment. Q. What is Q? That, as we all know, stands for queer. It's the type of people that are happy to go out and say, yep, I like to have sex with animals. Is that something people are proud of now? Going back to the Bible quote that we mentioned earlier, pride comes before a fall. Pride comes before destruction. Absolutely. Now, of course, some would say, okay, well, the Bible may well teach that homosexuality is against God's will, but so too is something like sleeping in the bed, if you're a man, sleeping with your wife when she's going through a menstrual cycle. And while that is true, the book of Exodus, I believe, does mention that husbands shouldn't sleep with their wives during that period of time. God did not destroy a kingdom. He did, like Sodom and Gomorrah. That wasn't due to small. God himself knows what is an abomination and what is considered a transgression. And of course, the rainbow, as we know, is a symbol from God that he would never again flood the earth, which was done because all flesh was corrupted. I mean, how much of a coincidence is it that the rainbow is used as a flag for the LGBTQ dead body fancying, bestiality preferers? It's almost like they're kind of mocking God. I see it as a mockery, really. They're kind of saying, well, look, we've got the rainbow. You said you were never going to destroy us again with a flood, no matter how corrupt all flesh becomes. And now, as the Vaseline is rolled out, again, they're using that exact same symbol, the corruption of all flesh. Is that a coincidence? I don't know. Anyway, soap operas are, of course, they're not a reflection of what's going on in society. They are an influencer. So when people watch the soaps and they say, oh, look, the local church is supporting the local Pride March, they say, well, that must be what's going on in the world. You know, everyone has to be fine with it. They cannot have an opposition to it. Then yeah, people are very easily influenced. Right, I will just go through the live chat. Imam Pudama says, germ theory is false. No virus has ever been purified from sample. Do you know what? I would not doubt that. It's not something I can 100% confirm. When you think about what germs are, I mean, what pathogens are, I can understand why that's the situation. Imam says, Emmerdale Pride sounds like a brand of sliced bread. Yeah, it does actually. It's also, again, product placement. I've talked about product placement going on in these soap operas. It's all they are. They're just there to promote a product, to promote a political movement, because they also do racial storyline. Hang on, where are we? This person here, he is see, to be honest, I got hooked by the storyline of Emmerdale. I do actually quite enjoy it. The other soaps I'm not a fan of, but Emmerdale, I do kind of find the stories quite appealing. The storylines, I don't know why. But this guy, when you see them promoting the vax and all that rubbish, it makes you want to turn it off. But I do still catch the occasional episode, although I don't know if I could stomach this rubbish. Yeah, this guy, his first scene was where he was wrongly accused of dealing drugs or something. And they said that because he's black, he was an easy target. Not only is he black, he's gay. And he's a lawyer as well, I think. So yeah, he's very qualified to speak. Alice Wilde says, my GP surgery doesn't have my current address. Probably why. Maybe. Yeah, perhaps they are coming. It's coming from the NHS though, so it sounds like that's the right move, Alice. I did also want to ask you something, Alice. Well, anyone actually. You're all welcome to. You're all welcome to answer this. The video I made a couple of weeks back about, well, a few months back, about opting out of the NHS sharing your data by September, I believe it is. Good thing or bad thing? Do you recommend opting out, or because I got the impression that some of my viewers, I'm not sure if it was you, Alice, but it was someone, they were almost suggesting not opting out because it might be a trap, more or less. I don't know. But yeah, I'd be curious whether you guys think you should opt out of letting. I mean, on the surface, yeah, of course. Why would anyone want the NHS to share their private medical history? Right. O'Breck says, great answer. I totally agree. I'm open to all ideas. If I had to guess, I would say it's somewhere in between germ theory and terrain. Maybe. I mean, chickenpox. That's a strange one. Yeah. The one thing I am sure of, okay, is that if there is let's say there's a virus out there and it's sweeping the nation or people are getting ill, the stupidest, worst thing you can do is hide away, stay at home, and basically waste your life trying to hide away from it. It's pointless. Based on my own observations, what I can see is the only people that are affected by the pandemic are those that care about it. Those of us that want nothing to do with it won't allow ourselves to be tested, won't allow ourselves to be quarantined and have to stay at home all the time and won't go and visit people, wear masks all the time. They tend to be the people that are affected by it. I don't actually. I mean, I know a few people that share the same thoughts as me. They're not interested in what the government have got to say. They don't trust the government to look after their health. I mean, why would you? The government. Look at those scumbags. Look at who they are. Why would anyone trust them to look after our health? Anyway, go back to the chat. Jimmy Savile did that. Maria Ellender, absolutely. But according to the LGBTQ people, Jimmy should have been proud. He should have proudly gone on those marches and said, yep, I'm into all sorts of sordid practices, and I'm proud of that. Alice Wild, these perverts have ruined rainbows for me. Yeah, well, I like to reclaim it. You know, when I see a rainbow in the sky, I don't think of homosexuals. I don't think of nurses or people doing TikTok dance videos. Yeah, I remember it's a message from God. Random Game says crazy people think the rainbow is good luck. Yeah, they. When I was a kid, I grew up and it was always like, oh, there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Actually, what is the rainbow? How is it actually? How does it occur? Interesting stuff. It's one of those interesting things. I mean, anyway, we'll come back to that in a minute. I'll keep going through the chat. Eman Pudama, I opted out on one form, but I think there are others. It's too late now anyway. Eman, apparently it is not too late to opt out. You have until September, is what I heard. Maria, it was me who was a bit suspicious of the opt-out. Thank you, Maria. Sorry, Alice, I thought it was you. Because they can make another database for us. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Who knows what's going on with our data? And what I will tell you, I mean, if it isn't the NHS selling it, it'll be someone else. I had a really strange occurrence a couple of weeks back. Nothing to do with the NHS as such. eBay. I bought a product on eBay, and I had a recorded delivery. I was given a tracking details for recorded delivery, and was expecting it within the next couple of days. I popped out. I went out on the day. It wasn't due. I went out, came back, and the minute I got through the door, I had a text claiming to be from Royal Mail saying, you've missed your delivery. Please ring and text this number to rearrange another one. Now, of course, Royal Mail always put a little card through your door if you miss a delivery. and I've had those messages before. The weird thing about this was that when the thing I bought on eBay did arrive, it didn't come through Royal Mail. It came through who was it? UPS, and so despite being given a Royal Mail tracking number, I ended up getting it came through someone else. Then a couple of hours later, I got another text saying it didn't say, I said DHF delivery, which hadn't even, weren't even you doing it. Could not be delivered, please phone us. It was just weird how they knew I was expecting a Royal Mail delivery, or they appeared to. They seemed to know when I was out, and they seemed to know when I got back. So were eBay perhaps passing on my information? My location. It's crazy. Alice Wild says, yeah, I said not to respond. It's a data grab. They want everyone's current contact details so they can chase us for the jab. Again, you could be right. The reason I thought they want to share data is so that shops can, like, say, have something ready so they can, if you want to enter a shop, they look your name up and they say, oh, well, you haven't had the Vaseline, therefore you're not allowed to come in. I wonder if it might get used for that, but yeah, I'm not too sure. Emans, Alice says they don't respond. Oh, don't respond at all. Oh, that was to Eman. Says he opted out on one form, but I think there are others. It's too late now anyway. Eman says they stopped chasing me for the jab after I told their immunology centre there was no virus. Brilliant. I'm guessing that's probably a good way to do it. And Eman says the false email rubbish about so-called gain of function gets on my nerves. It's just a trick to persuade people it actually exists. Yeah, of course it is. There's loads of stuff. I mean, I came across, again, another story I came across about all these stories. What they end up doing is the overall narrative you take away from is that there definitely is a virus. Let's see. Now, again, I am not saying there is not, well, who knows? Does the body produce a pathogen which, when they do a test, well, those rapid flow tests are a complete joke by all accounts, from the information I've heard, but that's besides the point. Is there a pathogen produced by the human body that they have named CV-19? Maybe. I've never seen it. But one thing you can be sure of, if the mainstream media are pushing it, chances are it's not the most truthful thing you will ever hear that day. This story about apparently misleading stats claim more Vaseline people die. Again, all this story does is suggest ultimately that people are really dying of the illness. Some people, including those publishing anti-Vaseline agenda online, have been claiming a large proportion of those dying with the Delta variant had the Vaseline. One conspiracy site even claimed that Vaseline people were dying at a higher rate than those that had not had the jab, which is untrue. This site and others use real figures in a misleading way to arrive at a completely false conclusion that the Vaseline may not be working or even doing more harm than good. Well, I still think it's too early to say whether it's doing more harm than good, because it is generally accepted that, there's just not enough trials. Latest cases. See, all these stories do is just give them another opportunity to tell us that between the 1st of February and the 22nd of June, there was another 92,000. There we go again with the reverse numbers, look. What was that story we looked at earlier with the Scottish fans? 1991. Now we've got 92029. What's going on? That is no way a coincidence in my book. Unless they had to like really carefully go through the dates to find that particular number. Have I still got that story up? Yeah, look, 92029. And then where are we again here? Unfortunately, I'm not great with the numbers. I don't necessarily understand them. Here we are again, a reversal of the number 1991. Not a coincidence. The BBC love to push these stories. Anyway, where are we going? Misleading stats, 58%. Right, of the 58%, of these, 58% were completely unvaselined. Only 8% were fully vaselined, so it didn't save those 8%, did it? Right, less alarming. The figures for hospital admissions and deaths are a bit more confusing. Of the 117 people who died, 43% had been fully vaselined. Do you know, I knew someone, and his son worked in a hospital, and he said he completely believes it. He even took part in trials for the Vaseline before they released it. That's how dedicated he was. He also considered himself a Christian and a believer in God, but laughed when I said I take the Genesis account as historically accurate. He laughed at me. What a dedicated Christian. Anyway, that's beside the point. This gentleman, he was a good guy. On the whole, he was a good guy, but he totally believed what the media tells him. And he said that everyone getting it it's being picked up in hospitals, which, I mean, that was an interesting view. Right, of course, we are approaching the hour mark, and we haven't looked at that thing in Elephant and Castle yet, so I will move on to that. Iman Pudama, it looks like the second shooter rumours they used to put out after hoax shootings. Okay. Mudlark says, I am still listening, just can't look at the chat. No problem, Mudlark. Appreciate you tuning in. Right, Iman Pudama says, scientific evidence that SARS-CoV-2 doesn't exist is quite simple, really. It's just cellular debris and a theoretical genome in a computer. No proof of a pathogen at all. Fair enough, okay. Alice Wild says, it's not a theory. The globalists are conspiring against us. And Obrecht says, 9/11 gave us 19 years of terrorism, only shown through the news. COVID-19 will give us 19 years of the invisible enemy, only shown through... Yeah, I don't doubt that at all, Obrecht. This will go on for a long time. Will the next 19 years, like you say, be... Because it would appear now that terrorism has gone. Where are all the terrorists? Right, Elephant and Castle, 6 hurt. When was this? 28th. 6 hurt in huge blaze at railway arches. 6 people were injured and several buildings evacuated after a fire caused huge plume of smoke to billow into the sky above London. About 100 firefighters battled the blaze. Okay, fire crews were called shortly before 13:45. I did not hear about this one. Should we watch the video? Oh, 33-second video by Anthony King. I do not know who Anthony King is. I wonder if he'll be a Johnny on the spot. Here is the traditional red bus that that you always see. The crisis actors come in on, and they used to block off the road. That looks like London Paddington, I'm guessing. Dr. Ben Lovell. Let's see who Dr. Ben Lovell is who showed this photo. Now, I'm not saying these images are fake, but who knows what caused them. What was their name? Dr. Ben Lovell. Let's see if there's any Johnny on the spot reporters. London Ambulance Services treated people living in the area warned to keep indoors. There we go. Yeah, I wonder if they used, like, I can't remember who it was originally said it. Alice or Maria, Let me just see. It was basically, were the emergency alert things used? It was Maria Ellender. I wonder whether the government emergency alert worked in real time for the Elephant and Castle explosion. Well, people were told to stay indoors for the rest of the day. Stephen Di Costa. I'm always curious to see who got the pictures and who they are. Anthony King, who is Anthony King, told the BBC he was about to catch a train home. Coming out of a car mechanics. When he saw canisters went up, 51-year-old said the fire then spread through the adjoining arches. Sarah Scarper, Joel S's. People who live in the apartment at Hurlock Heights said we opened a window. London Fire Brigade. Look, even London Fire Brigade have got the rainbow. 3 commercial units underneath, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's always interesting to see who some of these people are taking these photos. Right, we could look them up in a minute. Stephen Di Costa, we will have a quick look at that. I am going to be wrapping up in a minute. Stephen Di Costa. I'm guessing this is him. Let's see who he is, what he is. Neuroscientist, traveller in search of adventure, advocate for sexual health and sex workers' rights. I also like ducks. Okay, I don't know if this is even the right guy. Yes, he is. It seems like the motor repair. Although he was just showing someone else's pictures. Who is Megan Juriam? Doesn't tell us much about this person. Okie dokie. Right. Yeah, there was one last story I wanted to look at. August the 4th, 2020, they were reporting on another. Oh, they just retweeted about another fire. And of course, they retweeted something about lost for words. There are kids, babies amongst that crowd of people. I'm not taking this seriously. I'm so baffled. Clapping for the NHS in a crowd. One good one, guys. Okay. Right, whatever. Okay. I will have to look closer at the Elephant and Castle, if anyone knows anything about it. Alice Wild says she used to live down there. The whole place seems blowing up. Fair enough. Can't really argue with that. Eamon says the terrorists stood down to help the authorities deal with the pandemic. Yeah, I mean, what a great time this would now be for them to make their mark. But you're right, they're all wearing. Also, they could go out and plant their pressure cooker bombs and wouldn't be identified because they're all wearing masks. But they didn't think of that either. Oh yeah, Obrecht says the terrorists are scared of the viruses too. Eman, hopefully skepticism about viruses will grow. I heard that 30% of Germans doubt they exist now. That's good to hear. Yeah, I mean, the best way to stay healthy isn't to wear masks, isn't to socially distance, isn't to stay at home. It's to eat healthy, live healthy, have a balanced diet. I mean, I'm vegetarian personally, but I think that's the healthy way to go. But others, probably believe that eating sort of like fish and meat is a good way to go. Plenty of exercise, plenty of socialising with good, decent, honest people. You don't want to hang around scumbags, obviously, but decent people. That seems to be a good way of staying healthy. Not listening to the government. It won't get you anywhere. Right, the last thing I want to look at before I end for the night is a story about Nicola Peltz. Do you know who Nicola Peltz is? She is apparently the wife or girlfriend of David Beckham's son, Brooklyn Beckham. Right, Nicola Peltz debuts baby bump on set of Lola James. The reason I'm talking about this, you'll read it in a minute. Nicola Peltz sported a baby bump in a recent... Hang on. Oops, what am I doing? Okay, here we go. Nicola Peltz spotted a baby bump in recent social media photos shared on Monday. The prosthetics on her belly looked so realistic that fans were led to believe she is pregnant with her first child with fiancé Brooklyn Beckham. She's got very wide shoulders, by the way, but whatever. In Lola James, Peltz plays the titular character, a 19-year-old expectant mother who tries to save money in order to get her brother Arlo out of a toxic home, but she ends up getting addicted to drugs, blah, blah, blah. Yet it shows obviously it promotes this person's Twitter account, which we'll look at. And this is her on set. And apparently these prosthetics, is it me or does this person look ill? Do they look really unwell? Yeah, apparently these pictures were supposedly so convincing that people were like, saying, "Congrats, girl. This is a huge milestone and you should be incredibly proud of yourself. I know I am. I can't wait to see the result of this project full of love." They're on about the baby, I believe, unless they're on about the film. Who knows? Yeah, but apparently people were believing that it was real. We'll move on. This is supposedly them on set. Is it me or do these people just look really photoshopped? I cannot go on Instagram without getting sucked into this world of everything's vile. There's David Beckham's son, what a weirdo. Yeah, he is a peculiar looking person, but that's beside the point. Right. The last thing I want to do while I'm on Instagram, I haven't looked up, what's that guy, Nick? What is that guy called? I can't even think of his name now. The one that had the baby that died. Let me think. It's allegedly baby died. Ashley Kane, that's it. Do we think, despite the fact that, do we think they've still got their Go Fraud Me account going? Like months after the baby died, or have they finally taken it down? Oh my goodness, it's still going. Surely they've closed it down. They cannot still be raising money to help save the life of a baby that is dead. Well, supposedly to the official narrative, is dead. It's a doll. No two ways about that. I'm convinced. Why are they still raising money? 2 days ago, people donated 20 quid. Why? Is this just some sort of money laundering situation? Who in their right mind gives to a Go Fraud Me where the cause is to save the life of a baby, which, if you believe them and it's a real sick baby, is dead? So all the money has to be returned. Because, as I say multiple times, you cannot misappropriate money raised in these funds. Anyway, yeah, people, because I called these people out and said, you have to return the money. And they said, no, leave them alone. They're devastated. They got too much on their mind to worry about shutting down a Go Fraud Me account. Obviously not. They've got plenty of time to stick all these rubbish pictures up. Do you want to see the guy laughing? I know I've already made a video about it, but he cannot even do this heartfelt speech talking about his daughter without a big smile on his face. It's crazy. It's insanity. I don't even want to watch this vile liar talk. Azalea's Garden. Yeah, good one. Anyway, I'm getting off there. I get too negative. Right, I'm going to wind down now. I would like to extend a huge thanks to everyone who tuned in today, particularly Alice Wilde, Eman Pudama, O'Breck, Mudlark Digging at the Thames. Have I said Alice Wilde? Yep. Of course I have. Random Games. A couple of names that I haven't come across before. Phil Wright, of course, a regular viewer. We had Dean Jones. I'm not sure if you're still with us watching. I hope if you are, Dean, I hope you enjoyed the stream. And we also had early on. Let me see. What's the person early on? They've gone now. Bear with me. I do want to find their name. I'd like to thank everyone that took the time to comment. It was Andrew Lidgett. Thank you for your comments, okay? Thanks to everyone who, made a comment today. This video will, as always, make up the first hour of my Sunday live stream. I'm pretty sure it was Maria asked if I would ever consider doing a live stream earlier on a Sunday. I'm not going to rule that out, possibly. When I do, I'll maybe do a quiz, because I know people quite enjoy doing the quiz. I'll just read the live chat before I finish. Iman says, Alice says, ISIS are on a gap year. Lots of orange, of course, with Ashley the Fraud Kane. And Obrecht says, Lil Jojo is XXX Temptation. Okay. Right. Again, this weekend, I believe it is when the majority of those proud of their sexual preferences are out there. They're going to be out there. Personally, I think all those, I'm not going to say everyone who partakes in homosexual relationships are, I'm not going to stand in judgment of them. Again, another lesson in the Bible is don't worry about the speck in your brother's eye when you've got a huge plank in your own. Judge not lest you be judged yourself. People that live their lifestyle, whatever lifestyle they live is between them and God. But when they inflict it on everyone else and try and educate young children that, hey, this is perfectly normal, where is it going to end? What's coming next? I think you have to be very wary. But yeah, my personal opinion, if you tune into this, then I'm guessing you want to hear my personal opinion. Homosexuals, just like drug addicts or any kind of addicts, alcoholics, people that are shopaholics, they're all victims of basically programming. The programming that we see on the types of soaps like Emmerdale, EastEnders, Coronation Street. Terrible programs like Love Island, Big Brother, Celebrity Cesarean, Celebrity Miscarriage, all this crap, It's important not to listen to these people, not to listen to government. Even the NHS are only really in it for the money, aren't they? They just want taxpayers' money. Not to say there aren't a lot of decent, hard-working people that work for the NHS, paramedic, a lot of decent people out there. But unfortunately, it all gets corrupted. Maria Ellinger, as in the days of Noah, absolutely. That is how we did start this subject. Latest Mudlark, thanks for joining us. Mudlark says homosexuals existed before mass media. Yes, you're absolutely right. But were they themselves influenced by? Where did that influence come from? Perhaps the same influence that is pushing such a lifestyle on people through the television was working on people through other means. We don't know. With that, I'm gonna wind up. Oh, Mudlark says, I think they're men with female brains and women with male brains. Who knows? Because I have no idea. If I was a child and I said, you know what, I think I should be a female, am I rightly qualified to know what it would be like to be a male? Oh, I like the colour pink. Well, so what? Pink is actually a really nice colour. I like it myself. Doesn't make me gay. Doesn't make me want to be a woman. But I do like the colour pink. Magenta especially, a really nice colour. If you notice, a lot of my thumbnails on my videos will have either a very bright pink or sort of like light purple tone, because I do like the colour. I think it's very appealing. But that's just me. Doesn't mean I know what it's like to be a woman. Phil says, God created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Yep, that is a classic one. Right, I'm going to have to end here, but huge thanks to everyone who tuned in, as always. I really do appreciate everyone who takes the time to comment. I will be back Sunday. It will be Sunday evening this week, but I may look at moving the time. Yeah, so have a wonderful week. Take care, everyone. It's been wonderful to interact with you all. I will see you Sunday. Okay, that was a rerun of the live stream I did on Thursday, titled Pride Comes Before a Fall. And this is a follow-up to that one, part 2. I'm not exclusively talking about that subject, but it does come up. I've got a few other things I wish to kind of discuss, and I'm always happy to take suggestions from those in the live chat. First of all, I would like to say hello to Maria Ellender, KG, Susan Byrne, CC Jelly, Dan Sewell, David, and Michelle from Oz. Thank you all for commenting in the live chat. In fact, CC Jelly mentioned a news story that he had heard tonight, which we can have a look at. A fire, on Thursday we looked at the fire that took place in London, I believe that was, the Elephant and Castle. Well, apparently there's been another one in Ireland. Whether they're so much as not really a fire taking place, or it's just a pre-planned one, is anyone's guess. Oh, can you believe it? My cat now decides this is the moment he wants to go out. Hang on, let me just let him out. Okay, I'm back. He's had the whole last hour to be let out, but he chooses the moment I hit the live button or unmute the microphone. Anyway, where were we? Yes, so we will certainly have a look at that. Let's see. Dan Sewell says, thank you for continuing to expose these fraudsters. Well, it's a joint effort, I believe. It's not just comes from me. I certainly find out a lot, as much from you guys sharing information with me as you probably do from any observations I might make. So, but yeah, thank you for the encouraging words. Susan Burns says, turn the telly off. Very good advice. There was that Red Hot Chili Peppers song, Throw Away Your Television. I think that was always, although I'm not a big fan of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, I do remember that one where they just keep saying it's a repeat of a story told and it's getting old. Maria says, I read that a lot of women are suffering miscarriages and spontaneous abortions due to the Vaseline, which made me wonder whether all the celebrity miscarriages were part of the particular programming. You know what, Michelle? That's I could not. I mean, so far personally, real world experiences of people having negative effects of applying Vaseline to cracked lips. Fortunately, in my life, I say it's pretty low. Although I have known a couple of people that have died quite suddenly, and I also know someone that. Right, this again is a friend of a friend anecdote. I don't know them personally, but I know someone that had blood clots, and their doctor told them, "Don't worry, it's not related." So they were happy with that. But yeah, it's something we'll soon see. I mean, over the coming months, it'll be, perhaps we'll, does what's going on now, will it have much of an effect on fertility? We don't know. One thing is for sure, the NHS, do they really have your best interest at heart? Well, a couple of weeks, I think it was a couple of shows ago, Maria Ellender made a comment in the live chat about she was teaching, or she was refusing to teach people a practice about Liverpool care pathway. I didn't really know what she meant. Well, she's educated me, and I really do think that is something we should take a look at. Just if anyone is ever in the if anyone's ever in the mindset that the NHS only do what is right for they've got our best interest at heart, then yeah, just reading. I mean, reading about that might make you rethink it. Before we look at that, actually, I'll go on with I'll just cover the little thing I want to talk about Pride. Now, as I mentioned on Thursday, apparently the soap opera Emmerdale Farm was mentioning about Pride being a charity, and I thought, they did a lot of storylines. Someone stole the charity pot, and they were all saying, "Oh, how can anyone steal from such a good cause? What are they talking about? How can Pride possibly be a charity? I mean, it's just a festival. It's a big march where people boast that they, I don't know if kinky is the right word, but they like it strange, put it that way. And they want to brag about that, which, well, okay, whatever. Pride does indeed come before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall, as Proverbs 16:18 teaches us. So I looked up. I'll share my screen now, in fact. I will go back to the live chat in a minute and catch up with some of the comments. Oh, this is another story. I'm trying not to get too sidetracked. I could not believe when I put in the words LGBT charity, how many things come up. How many charities? You've got this one, LGBT charity. You've got Gallup, the LGBT anti-violence charity. You've got Mind Out, mental health charity for LGBT. At the LGBT Foundation, Stonewall, we stand for lesbian, gay, bi, trans, queer, questioning, and ACE. What on earth would ACE mean? People everywhere. We imagine. I mean, and I said to you've got to ask yourself, the Proud Trust. Why would people need so many organisations set up to support them? And it's obvious, I think, I think the main one is the LGBT Foundation. And we'll have a look at what they do. And it all makes sense once you realise what these people are about. It generally comes down to... Oh, they're checking my browser before they let me access it. Okay, I wouldn't be too upset if they didn't let me go on it. But how these people can be recognised as a charity, then, when what they're actually kind of I won't get too look at that. They're even offering advice on how to live a promiscuous lifestyle and still not catch the Rona. Equality wins. It's interesting they go on about equality where they say, we just want you to treat us like everyone else. We all want to be treated the same. Oh, but we do demand to be allowed in any toilet we want. We want every business to recognise our sexual preference as something they care about. Yeah, and anyway, the reason they've got so many charities in place is because, you've got the lesbian, gay, bi part, and then once you hit on trans, it then becomes a mental health issue. And the reason these get support, well, why would you need support? It is because there's so, by all accounts, I believe rates of suicide, rates of depression is particularly high in people who enjoy dressing up like this. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but anyway, there are so many organisations in place. The one story I did come across, though, The Beautiful Game. What do you think? By the way, just there were people asking me if I was going to be doing a quiz again, a quick quiz. What do you think this person is, male or female? He'll tell us in a minute what he is. This is from Sky News on the 2 days ago. The Beautiful Game has to be beautiful for everyone. Joe White's England makeup, a victory for inclusion. When Joe White posted a selfie on social media after watching England beat Germany at Wembley, it was, of course, in celebration. But it was not to mark the celebration on the pitch. Where are we going? It was an altogether more impressive triumph in the stands. People complimented me on my eyeshadow. My glitter England flag that I did and some silver eyeshadow and lipstick, the Arsenal fan who identifies as queer. What does that mean exactly? I mean, when someone like this even says, yeah, I am a bit queer, then you've got to question what is. Anyway, right. It's just the fact that, yeah, let's read down then. It was all really, really positive. So great, he's happy, he's a happy person. Everyone said he looked great, or she looked great, or it looked great in its makeup. Sadly, though, that's not always the case. There was a bit of a hesitation. There's always a bit of a hesitation about going to England games by they, them, by those who go by they, them pronouns. Oh, sorry, I called them it. Apparently mispronouncing these people is now considered a hate crime. At a League of Nations game in Portugal, we had a lot of homophobia. Joe came out as non-binary. What on earth does that mean? He doesn't like ones and zeros. In January last year, and since then has become increasingly comfortable expressing their identity. So there, does that mean he's more than one person? See, this for me strikes me of, is it schizophrenia, where people believe they have split personalities? One day I'm a crazy woman who likes to, I don't know, go out and prance up and down the street bollock naked. And the next day I'm a conservative gentleman who doesn't do that stuff. Yeah, but just right. Anyway, here we go. I didn't really think about it until meeting up with my friends so we could travel to Wembley together, and I was like, this could cause some issues. If you're just LGB, you're able to almost straight wash yourself and butch up, so to speak. Whereas if you're in the face of makeup, that gets a little bit harder to do if something happens. He means if people start taking the mick, if you're not dressed like a woman, it's easy to just hide in with the crowd. So they did consider removing makeup, not a chance. Visibility is really important to make sure that we end up having conversations like this. So basically, pretending it's a real issue. Football is a beautiful game and it has to be beautiful for everyone. No matter what your views may be, you have to go along with these people's choice, their belief that if they want to sleep with animals, dead bodies, what does it matter? These are you have to respect these people for their choices. Apparently Joe was so overwhelmed by the support shown by fellow fans that evening that he decided to tweet about it. The post went viral before being shared by England midfielder Jordan Henderson. Other way round, probably. It went viral after being shared by Jordan Henderson, but whatever. It's kind of surreal. Check out this guy's arrogance as we read on. It's surreal, but it's a really important thing to have done. The Liverpool captain isn't the only player to have shown solidarity with the LGBT plus community. England skipper Harry Kane wore a rainbow armband in the match against Germany, as did his opposite number. No way did he go out to the shops and say, do you know what, in support of all the lesbians, gays, bis, trans, animal abusers out there, I'm going to buy myself a rainbow coloured armband. Not a chance. As we see, it was also his opposite number, basically Germany captain Manuel Neuer also wore a rainbow thing, so it's clearly pre-planned. And then UEFA initially launched an investigation into whether Neuer breached rules surrounding political gestures. Is LGBTQ a political gesture, a political statement? When he first wore the armband, but they dropped the probe. European football's governing body also denied a request from the German authorities to illuminate the Allianz Arena in Munich in rainbow colours for the game against Hungary. Well, fine, what's wrong with that? I'm very, very angry with UEFA, said Joe to Sky News. Well, who cares what you are? I mean, Oh, here we go. Right. In my opinion, all they did was rainbow wash and queer bait to try and solve the issue and brush it under the carpet. What issue are we talking about? It's mental. Football clearly has a long way to go because UEFA wouldn't allow, or German authorities wouldn't allow a stadium in Germany to decorate or to illuminate the pitch for their very special movement. So apparently that means they were queer baiting or whatever he called it. It's crazy. What a world. Right, I will quickly go and read the chat. Uh, let's see, David, if I haven't already mentioned, hello to you. Misha Moss says that historically pink used to be for boys. Go figure. Yes, someone else left a very similar comment in that last video saying it was a colour of virility or something, but they switched it. Let's see, David. It's been my personal choice not to wear a mask ever. Yeah, we're going to come on to that in a minute. I just wanted to do this last thing, as I called this Pride, about Pride Part 2, so I thought we'd cover Pride, but we are going to look at a new story. Random Games, greetings. Thank you for joining us. Misha Moss says, thinking of the trans agenda and critical theories becoming mainstream, I saw a long interview from a Russian defector from the 70s saying this social division is how they would bring down the West. Well, to be honest, what a great way it is to bring down, to actually, yeah, I was watching a video earlier. I think it's a YouTuber called the Morgar, and he was saying that there is actually a plan in place where they want to destabilize basically the family unit. They want broken homes. They want because while I mean I'm all for not only I'm all for women, gay people, everyone should be able to go and get themselves a job. But I mean, it's strange how things that are probably take the traditional family unit of a stay-at-home mother, for example, and a father going out to work. I mean, maybe there were benefits to that situation. Maybe that is a good way to bring up children. But anyway, perhaps that sounds a bit old-fashioned. Not that I'm knocking any single parents. I mean, I don't disclose much about my personal life, but I am from a single-parent background myself, and I believe I was brought up perfectly well. I know my mother, for not 1 second did I miss having a father, because my mum did enough for me that, I was couldn't thank her enough. I was probably a little brat at the time, but so I'm certainly not knocking single parents, but I'm just saying perhaps the whole idea of two-parent families, male and father and mother, is would be of benefit to growing children. But hey ho, life isn't always that black and white, of course. So interesting thoughts, Michelle. I don't disagree with that. David said, I'm glad my children are young adult. There's no hope for kids in today's society. No, it comes to something where, I mean, this stuff I believe is being taught in schools now. Children are being taught that you should explore your gender. You should, maybe you too, maybe you could benefit from taking puberty blockers, hormone therapy pills. As we said, it is a mental health issue, and they're trying to treat it with like physical surgery. Perhaps you should, have surgery to make you feel more like the woman you somehow believe you are. It's out there. It's pretty out there. Michelle from Oz has shared a link. The blog explains about the money, trial, and ideology. Thank you for sharing. David says, has anyone seen the England midfielder half cast? He's got himself on the side of building doing the Masonic hand symbol. I'm guessing you could be on about that one who I believe has a fake nose. We'll have a look at that in a minute, David. Susan says it's all upside down. CC Jelly, Joe should out some top footballers as gay using his gaydar. I'm sure that's what he wants. It'll happen one day. Maria, I wonder if gaydar up on David Beckham. Yeah, do you know, there's some out there that believe David Beckham is more feminine than anything, but who knows? Anyhow, right, we will come back to that. I was going to have a look at the fire that took place in Strabane, which is in Ireland, I believe, but I came across this. Apparently, although I did hear completely the opposite the other day, here in the UK, masks will become personal choice, says Minister. Ongoing need for face coverings in Scotland, and when can we drop the face masks? Now, come on. To be honest, masks have always been personal choice. Like as other people have been saying in the chat, they don't wear them. It is a personal choice. There is not a law in the land that tells you have to put a face mask on. There's plenty of government advice and all that, but doesn't mean you have to follow government advice. A headline I came across the other day was saying that if people haven't had the Vaseline, then they'll have to keep wearing the mask, which is interesting for someone like myself who will never wear a mask no matter what, and will never have the Vaseline. Do we want to watch this news report for a second? I don't know how long it goes on for. Oh, hang on. Finally, Robert Jenrick says it's time to take personal responsibility on taking precautions like wearing masks. I mean, where have these people been over for the last 18 months? Is this a new thing? Surely, I see. What they're saying now is I think it's our responsibility. I mean, hasn't that always been the case? Right, I don't want to spend too much time talking and looking at this because it's always been personal responsibility. I've said this before, no one else will enforce your exemption. If you consider yourself exempt from wearing a mask, you have to enforce it. And okay, let's watch this. Minute 56, if it's too painful to listen to. In fact, this is the guy who was in the video on the last one, where it's saying, "Can I be self-indulgent and talk about me? I got the illness after having both jabs." And the guy replied, "Yeah, we're probably going to find in future that it is only those who have had the jab that gets ill." Let's see what they say in a minute.
Been living now for 18 months with extraordinary restrictions of one kind or another. It does look as if, thanks to the success of the vaccine programme...
Rubbish, nothing to do with that. It's just that you guys have had this in place all along, and you finally decided, okay, now we're going to pretend that it's going down. Not to say they won't suddenly say in a couple of weeks, months, whatever, oh, actually, we're going to have to go back to all that rubbish.
We now have the scope to roll back those restrictions and return to normality as far as possible. We should all be prepared, though, that cases may continue to rise. They may continue to rise significantly, but...
Not if people stop being tested.
Do now have to move into a different period where we learn to live with the virus, we take precautions, and we as individuals take personal responsibility.
For as long as I've been alive, people have been living perfectly well with getting flus and colds. It's nothing new. They just want to convince us that this one really is worse than anything. I mean, it's not to say people don't get ill. Of course they do. People have always got ill. People have always died of respiratory problems, gone into hospital. And we've had flu season every year, so...
You see some kind of social tensions in all of this new period where some cautious people are wearing masks and other people are not wearing masks. Some are trying to socially distance. Other people are refusing to socially distance. In other words, you're throwing a bit of tension into the community, aren't you?
I hope not. We trust the British public to exercise good judgment.
Are they saying, even though they're going to remove... they're going to stop recommending, because that's all they're doing, people wearing masks. They're still going to recommend people wear masks and social distance. And we trust you to be responsible. I mean, do you know what? I said to a woman in a shop the other day, the day I went to Devizes and was offered the Vaseline outside the centre, I was only asked in one shop if I had an exemption. And I said, I do, but don't worry, I'm not going to cough in anyone's face. And that now tends to be what I'm going to say. Before I used to say I'm not a member of that cult, but it was a bit kind of a few people took it the wrong way. So now I assure people, don't worry, I'm not coughing or sneezing in anyone's face. I don't need a mask.
Come to different conclusions, as you say. There'll be things that we all need to do. We all need to ensure that we are double vaccinated, and that will be absolutely critical if we want to maintain this momentum. There are still people in those categories 1 to 9 who haven't come forward to be vaccinated.
No way.
We will also...
There's people in category 1 to 9 that haven't bought your product. Oh no, what are we going to do? They haven't bought the product. Do you know what? This is almost like what you would expect, I don't know, a manufacturer of, let's say, Coca-Cola. They're out there saying, oh, there's people out there not buying our product. What are we going to do? Any chance we could get the news to make it sound like our product's really good, and that way anyone that isn't taking our product being irresponsible? Ridiculous.
To ensure that people get the booster jabs when they come online, and also we'll need to ensure that people get...
So now, as far as these people are concerned, we're now slaves to their product. If we haven't got your product, if the manufacturers go under and stop making it, or whatever happens, basically you want the world to believe they're stuffed. Oh, that would be a great day, that when all these manufacturers just go under, stop producing. And we can only pray. Right. Well, look, we've got another 35 seconds of this guy talking absolute rubbish, and then we'll move on.
Flu jabs, because that will be a very important element in our plan in the autumn and the winter.
Hang on, what did he just say there? Was he mixing it up with flu jab?
To ensure that people get flu jabs, because that will be a very important element in our plan in the autumn and the winter.
But so far as you're concerned, you expect all mask wearing, all restrictions to go on the 19th?
Well, I can't make that commitment this morning because the Prime Minister is going to make an announcement in the coming days. But it does,
that's the announcement he's going to make.
It does look as if the data is in the right place. Cases are rising, as I say, and that should make us cautious, but it isn't translating into serious illness and death. And so it does feel as if we are now in the final furlong, in a period in which we can start to live with the virus and move on with our...
I'm going to say that's a false dawn myself. We'll see. I'd be very surprised if they said on the 19th, we're going to let you decide for yourself whether or not you put a mask on. Obviously, we're all doing that anyway, but I don't know. Let's wait and see, hey? I'll just go back to the chat. Where were we? Susan Byrne says it's all upside down. Absolutely. CC Jelly, straight Banco Tyrone. County Tyrone. Yeah, we're going to have a look at that in a sec. David, it's Calvin Phillips. A mural. Oh, Calvin Phillips. I'm not familiar with that player, but we can have a look at him in a minute. No doubt he'll be doing one of them. Michelle from Oz will need a yellow star soon. Absolutely. And again, that's another tongue-in-cheek comment I've made to people on the trains, actually. I said this. I said, because they give us a lanyard. Well, you know, you can choose to take a lanyard with you. And I tell people I don't like putting things around my neck either, because I'm worried some, a frightened person's going to throttle me with it because they see me without a mask. So I say I won't put a lanyard around my neck. But I said, don't worry, I'll probably end up stitching it on my arm soon, like they used to do in Nazi Germany. Crazy. Let's see. Maria, roll back. What does that mean? Good question. Who knows what this guy means? Basically, how it sounds to me, if you're not buying their product, then you're in the wrong. David says you're spot on. As long as there's a test, it isn't going to stop. No, exactly. People have got to stop. I mean, I'll never take the test no matter what. They'll never convince me. Although we're going to read another story in a minute. We will have a look at the Strambane large fire at the coffin factory next. But then we will go back to a story, this time from the United States. By the way, if anyone is in the United States, happy 4th of July. I'm not 100% sure what the origins are of 4th of July, so I hope I'm not wishing you a good demonic festival or something. But if you're out there, if it's something you do, I wonder if it's a bit like over here we have Guy Fawkes Night, where we celebrate a person, Guy Fawkes, trying to blow up Parliament. If only he was successful, hey? Right, firefighters. This was CC Jelly told me about this. Stray ban. Large fire has broken out at a coffin maker. Is that a bit ironic, seeing as coffins quite often end up getting burnt? Whoops. Although someone did tell me once, I can't remember where I heard it, it may have been on the comment section, that apparently during cremations, what these funeral directors do is they remove the body from the coffin, therefore reusing the coffin before they set fire to them. Who knows? Right, firefighters working to bring the fire on Railway Street under control. Daniel McRoss. Okay, let's read the story. 80 firefighters, 10 fire engines and 4 special appliances. What? Special appliances? Were at the blaze at O'Doherty's on Railway Street. West Tyrone MLA Daniel McCrowson was nearby when he heard an explosion and said there had been a very loud lightning strike in the wider area. Wow, was that caused by thunder then? There were thunderstorms in the area at the time, but the cause of the fire has not been confirmed. The North West Ireland Fire and Rescue Service said it received a call about 16 at 10. The operation, I guess you could get 26 out of those numbers if you added the 1 onto the 1, 26. They're kind of squeezing it in. The operation is expected to continue on Monday with people asked to stay out of the area. What a great way of freeing up an area if you want to do something dodgy. Northern Ireland Fire Rescue Service, I guess that stands for, has asked those in the nearby area to keep their windows and doors closed. If only they had the emergency alert app. Hey, they wouldn't even need to tell people, they could just send it out on the app. Railway Street is likely to remain closed. Okay, thank you for sharing that, CC Jelly. It does seem what I will point out on this picture of these firefighters, the blaze would appear to be here, just under this Ryan's sign, and yet they're pouring water at this house right next to it. I mean, this guy's just shooting his hose at the door, which isn't really achieving anything. Is that just a drill? Who knows? Let's see. Susan says transgenderism is part of the agenda. Absolutely. Maria Ellender says, I have a medical condition which requires oxygen. Yeah, of course you do. Don't we all? There was, if I was ever, I mean, I've never seriously been questioned about it, but if anyone did ever ask me what my reasons were, I memorised the condition Staphylococcus infection, because it's a long word. People might not necessarily be sure what it means, and it is an infection people get in their nose and ears and throat, I think. And anyway, it's the perfect reason to not wear a mask. If you say you are prone to staphylococcal infections or staphylococcus, it's normally, I would have thought it'd be good enough for people because they don't probably want to admit that they might not. I mean, people have heard of staph, but once you explain it in full, talking in long words can intimidate people sometimes. So a little tip there. But as I've said, I did have someone asked me what my exemption was once, but I ignored them. They just rolled their eyes and walked off. I was quite happy with that reply. CC Jelly says no annual flu jab, no travel, no job with Pimlico plumbers. So if you're not having, again, I saw that somewhere else. It was on Twitter actually. We will. David says Daniel McCrewston took the pick, 33. Oh, CC. Yeah, it's right there. Well spotted. I do not have my numerology calculator on this computer, unfortunately. But it's interesting how there's always Johnny on the spot reporters. Let's just have a quick look for Daniel McCruson, see if he is a reporter. Daniel McCrossan. Oh no, it can't be him. Daniel McCrossan is Social Democrat and Labour Party politician who has been a member of the Northern Ireland Assembly for West Tyrone since 2016. What a coincidence. He just happened, a member of the Social Democratic and Labour Party, was on hand to take this picture. What were the odds? What about this one? Damien Corey. This looks a bit more amateurish. You know, they've done it in portrait mode. What's the guy's name? Damien Corey. No doubt the politician was in on it. Damien Corey, managing quantity surveyor, Stanmore. Is that the same place? I've gone back now, haven't I? And we'll come back in a minute. Strabane, Graham Wark. Okay. Assuming this is, I don't know if this is the same guy or not, but no, he's in London, so probably not. Oh, Limerick Institute of Technology. Could be linked. Okay. Yeah, CC Jelly, thank you for sharing that information. Michelle from Oz says, voted on the Declaration of Independence. Is that what they did? That would make sense because, yeah, I did see a picture of, yeah, like all the British flags where they were. Okay, so it was the thanks for that info. David says, yeah, seen that one. Okay, going back now to the boardroom at AstraZeneca, or basically any of the big syndicate, any of those in the pharmaceutical syndicate. You know, how can we get people using our product? We want them taking basically booster shots every year. I came across this story. ABC News. Vaccine hesitancy is in death lottery. Sorry, the vaccine hesitant are in death lottery. West Virginia, is that? Governor says. As the country marks its 245th Independence Day, the Biden administration has officially missed its target of getting 70% of all adults at least one shot. And as state governments examine what went wrong, your product wasn't good enough. People just don't want it. Accept it. You cannot force things. Can they not force things? We'll read on in a minute and see what they say. And then we'll look at one more thing on this that I wanted to look at. With their rollout programs of culprit is clear. The younger population is significantly less likely to take Vaseline. We've got a 6-minute video. I'm not watching that rubbish. At the end of the day, the young people, I'm reading this now. Oh, why does the whole thing highlight? At the end of the day, the young people, we're having a hard time getting them across the finish line and getting them V'd. West Virginia Governor Jim Justice told ABC. Jim Justice, goodness me. Told ABC this week co-anchor Martha Raddatz, or whatever she's called. They're young people all across this country that are not getting V'd. It's a challenge. That's all there is to it. Nationally, 67% of all adults have received one, but only 56.1% of adults in West Virginia have received one again. A surprise from a state that was lauded some months ago as being one of the leaders in the US on V distribution. When statistics were broke down by age group,
The rate plummets in younger generations. Good for them. While more than 78% of the population over 65 is V'd, only 39.5% of 18 to 24-year-olds are fully V'd. Let's go back. All right. This is now the reporter, the co-anchor, saying, let's go back to who's not getting V'd. The statistics will show it's poverty, race, and you just look at the map. It's a lot of red states. So, of course, this is all political. Everything's got to be about red and blue in America. Well, I mean, there's some truth to that and everything, Justice responded, because, the red states probably have a lot of people that, are very, very conservative in their thinking. And they think, well, I don't have to do that, but they're not thinking right. Well, of course, this person is qualified to say who is and who isn't thinking right. Yeah, good one. Like, we're not even allowed our own thoughts and opinions anymore. How ridiculous. Right, do you really think this is now going back to the reporter, do you really think those people who aren't V'd, who, as you said, are more conservative, may not want anyone in their business, are really ever going to get V'd? What could actually put them over the edge to want it at this point? Well, Martha, I hate to say this, what would put them over the edge is an awful lot of people die. Well, supposedly that happened last year, didn't it? According to all the reports. Or was that all a load of BS? The only way that's going to happen is a catastrophe that none of us want. I thought it happened last year. What are you on about? And so we just keep trying. It gets a little more sinister in a minute, though. In the capital of West Virginia, the local Kanawha Charleston Health Department is only V'ing 8 to 10 people a day, according to Sherry Young, a health officer, and the executive director of the department. On their best day earlier this year, they administered 5,344 shots. Do you think... Right, this is a co-anchor again. Do you think that the last little trickle out there, which is a pretty sizable, will ever do it? Probably not, Young replied. According to ABC, 74% of people who are unV'd probably won't get a shot, which is up from 55 in April, while reporting blah, blah, blah. Right. William Patterson, 22, of Morganton, West Virginia, told Reddit he would probably not get it, as he wasn't at risk. Don't you worry, you might give it to someone else, Reddit's asked Patterson. Yeah, there's that old tactic. Try and guilt trip people into buying your product. A lot of my family that are at health risks are already V'd, so I'm not really worried about it right now. Well, fair enough, yeah. If they're worried about it, let them take it. The state of West Virginia has continued to try to incentivize people to get V'd, offering multiple lotteries, $1 million cash prize, custom outfitted trucks, full 4-year scholarships to any public institute in the state, lifetime hunting and fishing licenses, custom hunting rifles and shotguns, and get away to West Virginia state parks. When asked if the lottery swayed his decision to get V'd, Patterson said it doesn't really change anything. My goodness, what the links they'll do to get them to buy their product. Right. Hang on, we're getting to the sinister bit in a minute. What it really boils down to, they're in a lottery. Oh, is that they're in a lottery to themselves. We have a lottery, that basically says, if you're V'd, we're going to give you stuff. Well, you've got another lottery going on, and it's the death lottery. Yeah, good one. I was saying earlier that it's the old, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, Radetz, the co-anchor said. You've provided the V, and yet. So then the justice counsellor guy said, maybe what you've got to do is lead them to water, and then if they won't drink, you've just got to some way stand up and push their head down some way. At least a few will drink. So basically force people, that's what they're saying. Which takes us on to this video I saw on Twitter. Where was it? Oh no, that's not it. Okay, here we are. This is only 2 minutes 18. So we'll watch this in a minute.
County Police Court Richard Fry tells me he started using the COVID-19 vaccine as a term of probation in his courtroom last week, but not for everyone. He ordered it 3 times out of 20 different sentencing hearings. I did talk to one of those 3 offenders today, and he tells me he feels very strongly about this and feels that this order violates his civil rights. What happened? 1 week to the day.
The case was about a gun charge and some drugs.
Franklin County criminal offender Sylvan Latham tells me he stood before Common Police Court Judge Richard Fry.
I know Judge Fry's reputation. I know he's known for giving people max time, jail time, all that. I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to have 5 years probation.
Latham thought his attorney struck a deal with prosecutors to 3 years probation. But during his sentencing hearing,
Was stressed out right then. I didn't know what to do. I was very much so put on the spot.
Latham said the judge told him he'd give him the 5-year max unless he got a COVID-19 vaccine. With the shot, Latham said his probation would be cut down considerably to just 1 year.
I'm shaking at this point. Like, I don't really like where this is going.
In the moment, Latham agreed. Now his terms of probation state he must get the shot in the next 30 days and provide proof to the probation department. He has your future in his hands. Do you feel that's an overstep?
I feel like it is an overstep, especially when he asked me, would I get it? And I said, I really don't want to get it.
I spoke with Judge Fry by phone. He tells me of the 3 cases in which he ordered COVID-19 vaccinations, none of the offenders said they had a religious or medical objection. He said this is him doing his part to inch the community closer to herd immunity.
He said something about a new Delta strain out attacking like black people, but I haven't had any symptoms. I told him I've been fine. Like, I just went to the hospital for strep throat and they didn't try to give me the vaccine. So.
Okay, now maybe this is a typical fake news story where they're just trying to. But if you take that on face value, what they're saying is rather than be on probation for 5 years, use that product, and you only have to be on probation for 1 year. Crazy. Right, I'm going to look at the final thing of the evening in a minute. Just have a quick catch up on the live chat. Let's see. Maria Ellender. Oh no, David says, I can't understand why anyone would go and get jabbed. Am I crazy or just normal? David, that sounds perfectly normal. I mean, it's like saying, I don't know why anyone would go out and buy a year's supply of Coca-Cola, for example. Well, I mean, if you're not a fan of Coca-Cola, why would you want to go out and buy it? If it's not for you, it's not for you. And bear in mind, that judge brought up about religious or medical reasons not to want it, because there are a lot of quite sinister origins into, I mean, I'm not so sure about this particular one, but if you look at the development of Vaselines, different Vaselines in the past, obviously they've used aborted fetuses, they've tested vaccines on the mentally ill. I believe they've taken the children of the mentally ill and done treatment on them, tested on them, horrible stuff. And in fact, I believe, there's a lot of really interesting stuff. Again, I talked about the deposition of Stanley Plotkins. It's like 9 hours it goes on for, but the stuff they bring up is incredible. And it makes you wonder, right, I will just catch up on the live chat. No, you're not, you are not at all crazy. David. KG says normal, yeah, absolutely normal. No jabby wookie. Maria Ellender, sadly, David, people really believe that the government and the NHS are working with their best interests at heart. CC Jelly says I'm dicing with death and avoiding the jab. David, well, there you go. That is what they want us to believe. That, but again, you just have to look at what's, really actually the situation out there. Who are the people that are, dying unexpectedly at the moment? And I mean, I don't want to say too much that could be seen as medical misinformation, but those of us that are choosing to trust our God-given immune systems and don't wish to support a product, or wish to support a product that's used aborted fetuses in the past to grow and to research and has been tested on mentally ill people. I think you've got apparently in order to, like in the past with different products, I don't know about this one, apparently they took the kidneys out of live monkeys and stuff, really horrible, vile things. Again, it all comes up in the deposition of Stanley Plotkins. 9 hours. Right. As Maria Ellender says, people believe the government and the NHS are working with their best interests at heart. Maria, a week or so ago, brought up a really interesting situation that I'd never heard of, Liverpool Pathway. She has since educated me on it. We will look at Wikipedia, which is everyone's, which is your one-click official narrative, and we'll see even their take on it. It says, this article's factual accuracy is disputed. Relevant discussion may be found on the talk page. Please help ensure that disputed statements are reliably sourced. Okay, let's see how long it takes us to read something that may not be factually accurate. The Liverpool care pathway for the dying patient. Right, basically this was something that when an elderly person, a terminally ill elderly person went into hospital, they suggested a palliative care option, as we're reading here, covering for patients in their final days and hours of life. It was developed to help doctors and nurses provide quality end-of-care life, to transfer quality end-of-care life to hospice, from the hospice to hospital settings. The LCP, Liverpool Care Pathway, is no longer in routine use after public misconceptions of its nature. So the only reason they took away this perfectly decent way of caring for people at the end of their life is because the public misconstrued its nature. Otherwise, they would have kept it going. Is that right? Let's read on. Alternative pathways are now in place to ensure patients are able to have dignity in their final hours of life. Citation needed. Hospitals were also provided cash incentives to achieve the targets for the number of patients placed on LCP. Again, I always thought, I never had a lot of time for cancer research, but I always thought, well, Marie Curie, the people that provide nurses, at least they're doing something practical for people with, dying of cancer. But apparently they were a big part of this as well. The Liverpool Care Pathway was developed by the Royal Liverpool Hospital and the Marie Curie Palliative Care Institute in the late 1990s for the terminally ill cancer patients. The LCP was then extended to include all patients deemed dying. Its inflexible application by nursing staff of Liverpool Community Trust was subject to scrutiny after the poor care delivered to relatives of Rosie Cooper, a Member of Parliament. It only mattered because she was a Member of Parliament. So what was this poor care? While the initial reception was positive, it was heavily criticised in the media in 2009 and 2012 following the practical application by Liverpool community healthcare staff. In 2013, the Department of Health released a statement which stated that the use of LCP should be phased out over the next 6 to 12 months and replaced with an individual approach to end-of-life care for each patient. So rather than saying this one size fits all, which will give you a cash incentive to start doing, they said, we'll see what personally suits each person. We'll go down to criticisms. Again, I'm not an expert on this thing. There's those out there that are. But yeah, just in the short amount of time I've looked it up, it is not looking good. Tommy Lynch, greetings and welcome to the live chat. Hello, Rainbow Bright as well. Good to have you on board. Another person, another early subscriber of mine. Michelle from Oz says lobotomies were billed as wonder treatment for mental illness and adverse effects were recorded early, but it took ages to get banned because the medics went along. Yeah, of course. It's it's kind of going back again to that LGBT situation where a person, you know, a man or a woman that believes they should have been born the opposite, you know, that's a psychological problem, and yet they want to treat it by offering them surgery. It's insanity. Yeah, it's all right. We'll mutilate your genitals, and perhaps you'll feel a little bit more like the original. You know, you'll feel a bit more like you if we hack off your mammary glands. Insanity. Maria Ellender says many families discharge their elderly loved ones from hospitals and lovingly nurse them back to health and wellness at home. Yes, I did come across, right, apparently what the Liverpool care pathway basically came down to, I mean, half of you probably know a lot more about this than I do, is that it was basically, and the decision was made where they basically stopped giving food and water to them. They starved and dehydrated them to death. And that was considered a quality, what was the original line they used? Provide quality end-of-life care. Starve them and dehydrate them to die. And as Maria said, people took their loved ones out of hospitals and brought them back to good health. It's and it also, I mean, I'm not necessarily going to read all this now, but what I did read sent shivers down my spine. I mean, it was saying that they were putting people on this that weren't even necessarily dying. They were just so desperate to get the numbers up. Right, it says the program suggests the provision of treatments to manage pain, agitation, respiratory tract secretions, nausea and vomiting and shortness of breath that the patient may experience. However, a 2016 Cochrane systematic review has since concluded there is limited available evidence concerning the clinical, physical, psychological and emotional effectiveness of end-of-life. Right, the care was not designed to be a one-way street to death. Are you sure about that? However, in 2012, controversies arose indicating that most cases, it was, and even patients who might have survived longer otherwise died because of the LCP. In response to the negative media reports, Claire Henry and Professor Mike Richards issued a statement on behalf of the NHS team claiming that Pathways was reversible and stating that approximately 3% of patients initially put on Pathway are removed from Pathway when reassessed, although no source was cited for this figure. Let's see. Have I missed anything? Yeah, again, they don't explicitly say on here that the methods used, but looking at it, it's yeah, they decided to phase it out. Let's see. In 2009, the Daily Telegraph wrote that the pathway has been blamed by some doctors for hastening the death of some mortally ill patients and possibly masking signs that the patient is improving. This story was criticised by the Association on the anti-euthanasia charity Care Not Killing as inaccurate. In contrast, the Times welcomed the pathway as an attempt to address patients' wishes and warned about alarmist press coverage of the scheme. A German study in 2015 found no indication of hastening death, 1 in 10 patients improves and leaves the pathway. The other 9 die. Media reports. Let's see. It talks about the financial inducements. In October 2012, figures released under the Freedom of Information Act showed that some 2/3 of NHS trusts had received incentive payments for meeting targets for using the LCP, and that such payments totaled £12 million or more. How insane. I mean, that is why when that gentleman approached me outside the testing centre the other day, I wonder, are these people being paid money if they reach targets? Yeah, again, huge thanks to Maria for actually, making me aware of that, because although it was relatively recently, here's a story here. The LCP has continued to be controversial. Many witnesses have testified that elderly patients were admitted to hospital for emergency treatment and put on LCP without documented proof that the patient consented to it or could not recover from their health problems. 48-year-old Norfolk man Andrew Flanagan was revived by his family and went home for a further 5 weeks after doctors put him on LCP. The Royal College of Physicians found that up to half of families were not informed of clinicians' decisions to put a relative on the pathway. And as Maria correctly points out, it's happening now with do not resuscitate orders for the elderly and the learning disabled. Yeah, I've said in the past, I know 2 people with learning difficulties that went into hospital and both died with such a short amount of time that, and considering that, well, one of them had nothing to do with the Rona, as it were. The other was only suspected, but I think before their test even came back. And yeah, it came out, the story broke. People with learning difficulties, and maybe the elderly as well, I'm sure you're not wrong on that, were being put on do not resuscitate orders. It's very concerning. And it's happening at a time where we're not allowed in hospitals. I mean, I don't know how much better it is now. I did visit my mother, who was in hospital back in the summer, back in August last year, after she had a fall. And they even, let me in without a mask, which was great. But if you go in with a respiratory problem, they stick you straight in ICU, and that is it. Your family aren't allowed to visit you. It's horrible. I am going to start winding down in a minute. I will just catch up with the live chat. Let's see. David said, a bloke said to me yesterday at my local pub, I don't know how you dare come in here. You haven't been vaxxed and not wearing a mask. You're putting us at risk. I'm curious what your response would have been to that, David. I guess how does he even know whether you were or not? Assuming it's someone you told. The nearest thing I had to that was, I had someone like another customer questioning me in a Wilco's a few months back. Again, I just blanked him. At my local shop a couple of weeks ago, someone said to me, it was the person that I barged past while he was putting his mask on. I just walked straight in front of him. And he said, oh, you ain't got a mask on. And I told him and everyone else in the shop, I think in about time everyone else took theirs off, but it all fell on deaf ear. I'm not sure how I would respond to that. Someone telling me that I shouldn't come in a place because I'm not wearing masks and I haven't had the treatment. Mind their own business. I would say to them, have you definitely had treatment for, who knows, like some horrible sexually transmitted disease? I'd say, well, if you hadn't had it, you might have it. Anyway, Rainbow Bright, we wouldn't treat our pets that way. Lunacy. No, you're absolutely right. It is lunacy. Withdrawal, and it says withdrawal of care essentially, no water or food. Yeah, it is disgusting. It is a horrible way to treat those in their last, days of life, or potentially months, but who knows how much time they had taken away from them. Yeah, I would have to look closer. I mean, I may come back to this. I may come back to it one day and have a closer look. But yeah, if you genuinely think that the NHS only have your best interest at heart, and aren't motivated by financial incentives, then just take a look at this story. Educate yourself about this, because it's very eye-opening. Let's see. Maria says, yeah, they're on bonus payments. I'm guessing you mean those providing the vax. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. And Michelle says medical professionals are prone to psychopathy, as everyone else. Ask yourself why women are entitled to a chaperone during an intimate examination on the NHS. Yeah, good question. Yeah, now I would not doubt that there are a lot of people working in hospitals, working for the NHS, are decent people. They have people's best interest at heart. They want to do good. They get into the job for the right reasons, but there's also those that get what you call a god complex. I mean, they believe they've got the power to give life and take it away. And also, I mean, doctors, a lot of people trust them. I know people that, based on the say-so of a doctor, one single doctor, they had their prostate cut out. Now, and yeah, I mean, who knows what they would want to do, why they would. But yeah, this guy, he's an older gentleman now, but he went through some horrible treatment through the stomach as well, which confused me. But yeah, he allowed them to cut out a part of his body, which apparently the professional that saw him said, well, quite often in prostate cancer, the patient can live with it without even knowing about it, and it doesn't even affect them. But yeah, based on this one doctor's say-so, he allowed them to hack out his prostate. It's the sort of thing that I hope I will never give a doctor the opportunity to misdiagnose me. But who knows? I mean, if I started to have seizures, or I started to pass out, or have funny turns, or my ear keeps playing up like I had earlier, who knows? Maybe I would give in and see a doctor, but I don't know. I would rather put my faith in God and in prayer before putting it in that of the government and of the healthcare, the medical profession, that's for sure. Right. But yeah, good point, Michelle. Thank you for sharing that thought. Rainbow Bright says, I know an area manager of a care home, and as soon as it hit, she took her own mum out. That says it all. Yeah, of course it does. I mean, what a horrible place it must have been. It must be for, like, yeah, care homes. No visitors were allowed in for months on end. Staff were all treating them like they're ill. Yeah, it's not good stuff. Maria Ellender says, good night all, and thanks for the chat. Maria, thanks as always for joining. I will be back midweek, Wednesday or Thursday. Probably Wednesday, actually, I'm not sure. I hope you can join us then. Have a wonderful week. KG says, if the V works, then what's the problem? They should be safe. You're absolutely right. It's ridiculous to say, yeah, I mean, it's like, I will go onto my Twitter. I will be finishing off in a minute, but a tweet that I left not long ago, probably my last one actually. Think of this. Where are we? Right. Imagine the look you'd get if you went into work and decided to take a paracetamol for a headache you haven't even got, and then demanded all your colleagues also take a paracetamol or else yours won't work. I'm not sure why I thought of that. Of course I know why I thought of that. If you want to follow me on Twitter, by the way, the link is in the description to this video. Good night, Rainbow Bright. Thank you for joining us. I remember you used to tune into my live streams a long time ago. Glad to see you back. So, huge, massive thanks to Rainbow Bright, CC Jelly, KG, Maria Ellender, especially for sharing the information about Liverpool care pathways. Michelle from Oz. Let's see, my phone's on a go slow. David. Tommy Lynch. I don't know if you're still with us. I'd probably say some people twice, rather than miss them altogether. Susan Byrne. I've said CC Jelly, haven't I? Random Games popped in earlier on. I don't know if you're still with us watching. Hope you are. Let's see. Dan Sewell. I'm not sure if you're also still with us. If you are, thank you. Let's see. Anyone else? KG. Yep, definitely thank you already. I believe that's pretty much everyone who has commented in the live stream, in the live chat, sorry. Old Breck, greetings and thank you for joining us. Yeah, always good to hear from you. Like I said, I will be back midweek, Wednesday or Thursday. Next Sunday, I plan to do another open lines live stream where I open up the chat to. I open up the stream, and if anyone wants to come on as a guest, I appreciate it. So yeah, I'll see you here same time next week. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and thanks to everyone who tuned in, and a massive thanks to everyone who commented in the live chat. I will be back again soon. Take care, one and all. Bye.